Excellent. So threat management staff meeting for December 2nd. Lindsay, thanks for adding the accomplishments in. How many is that since the last meeting? 30?
Well,
roughly?
yeah, I'm looking, 26 was 4, so yeah, 30. So this is across container security and the threat insights. And I've removed some of, design issues, things that are duplicates, things like that. I did a bit of cleanup.
Cool.
Good job.
So that's in 2 weeks and during a major holiday season. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, we're dope.
Yep.
So let's see, item 2. Any questions about the additional teams and growth that I'm responsible for? I don't think I've been able to bring that up in a group session yet, so I figured I'd ask. Seeing some no's. So I'm drinking from the fire hose in a big way. I feel like I'm going through onboarding again. Just it's a lot of components, a lot of people, a lot of what is going well, what's not going well, what the priorities are, what the OKRs are, et cetera. But it's really exciting and fun stuff. So it's still very much in the middle of it. Like I've only met about a third of the folks in coffee chats on the team so far. So I'm still very early on. So.
Question, do you expect that for things like OKRs that we'd find some alignment between the two sub-departments or sets of teams?
Great question. Not yet. Growth has needs from other teams and vice versa, all other teams, including ours. So there might be some stuff shared there, but we'll see.
Sub-department's the right word.
One interaction so far, and it was how we collect data on usage. But there was like a thread from 6 weeks ago where David convinced Gila, who's David's peer in product management, that what we're doing is good enough for now, and we have bigger fish to fry in threat management than change how we collect our data for telemetry. Which is just fine, right? I didn't want to open up that can of worms again. But there might be something in the future, like they ask us to do things, etc. So, but yeah, I'm also looking at like how they operate, how we operate, what can both sides learn from each other, and like there's no MR in growth for a narrow MR rate for the team, and I think we can probably get away with that. We can get away from having one ourselves because we've kind of hit steady state. So they don't have one, because they didn't feel the need to have one. And I think maybe in Q1, we probably won't need one anymore either. Or how meetings are organized and other stuff. So it's very interesting. So we all won. I'm sorry, Lindsay, you want to?
I think I cut off Zamir though when I first started talking. Zamir, were you going to ask a question? Okay, I thought I heard you say something. Sorry. My question's all about vocabulary. I'm always confused on what to call things. So are we all one sub-department? Two separate?
We are two separate sub-departments. Just happens to be me as the manager of the, hey Jonathan, the manager of the engineering managers.
So there's no term that is like a GitLab sanctioned term to describe the combination of these two sub-departments? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, at least not that I know of. But yeah, it's.
Can we make one up? Can we just call ourselves like a tribe or a herd or something? No, I'm just kidding. Go on.
Maybe. But overall, it's a great question. Like, we have a combined manager Slack channel for threat management and growth. Just so that, and we're talking about doing potentially a combined social day, or holiday social day thing. I think that's where things overlap. Otherwise, it's or like I asked and nobody jumped on it, and that's fine. Like we have a bunch of hiring to do in growth for back-end engineers, and because that team's growing a good bit. And does anybody on the back-end team for threat management want to help with the hiring, right? And some people might, some maybe nobody does, and that's fine. But I put the call out in both directions. So I think it's things like that. Just I happen to be aware of things on both sides. So I've also brought my experience as a customer of telemetry, threat management customer telemetry, to the growth team, saying, well, this was my experience. What do you think of this? Or what do you think of that? Et cetera. So that's been good as well. Just bringing up that kind of perspective. So Lindsay, I think you've got number 3.
You kind of stole my thunder already. So we were talking with with the growth team, and I'm sort of learning that it's the fulfillment team as well, about combining a team day. No, I'm sorry.
Just because growth is separate than fulfillment.
Sure, but I saw in the discussion.
They used to be combined, and we split it into 2 separate departments. It used to be the growth and fulfillment department, and now it's a growth department and a fulfillment department, both of which got bigger than they were previously. But since they all know each other really well, we may do a combined team day across threat management, growth, and fulfillment, because there's lots of overlap between teams.
That's what I saw in this growth social discussion with Hila and Bartek and folks, that fulfillment would also be part of this. So I did update the issue that's linked here in the agenda for folks who are interested, to include, it was originally just an issue for the growth team, so I've added threat management and fulfillment to it. They'd originally scheduled this, or tentative date of December 11th, which is next Friday. So I just added a comment saying, hey, Fridays are hard. We've got a lot of team members in the APAC region. That would be Saturday for them. You know, the following Thursday will be the Friends and Family Day for the folks in APAC. So scheduling, the date is still TBD. It could potentially be next Thursday, but that seems very soon. So if we can pull together a full, agenda of fun things to do, which again, much like the last time we did the threat management team day, will be optional. We encourage participation, but we're not going to require it at all. We'll keep you posted on the date. So.
And they really like Drossars too, by the way.
I don't know how good we are yet.
Yeah, well, no, we're really good at it. I am surprised at how many teams are under the growth subgroup. There's like 5 of them. I thought us having.
Well, okay, that's actually a good question. So there's 2 managers. So it's Phil in New Zealand and Jerome in Central Canada. No, is he West? I can't remember. Maybe he moved to Vancouver. He's in Canada. How about that? Sorry, Zamir. I'm not remembering the city correctly. So 2 managers, but they have very small teams. So they have actually, there's a analytics team, which currently has 3 people, and we're working to hire, there's 1 transferring to the team from a different team, and then hiring 4. So that's gonna be 1 largest team. And then on the other side, on Phil's side, it's actually 4 teams of 2 people each. So it is a large number of teams, but they're relatively small. So 2 basically is 4 teams of 2 engineers and 1 product manager, focused on things like improving the percentage of users that convert from free to paid is 1 group. Another group is focusing on improving, for example, how many stages each user adopts. So because the more stages a user adopts, the more likely that they're happy with GitLab and getting value out of it. So are they using just source control management, or are they also using source control management and CI for doing pipelines, for example? And there's other teams as well. So yeah, it is a lot of groups, but some of them are very small.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking from a manager point of view, that's a lot of different use cases and a lot to manage and keep track of. And now you have to keep track of all of it, so that's fun.
Yes, and Jerome and Phil are awesome too. So
cool.
I brought up this topic during the engineering manager office hours with Christopher, just because I wanted to get his take on it. And he had some really great observations around why this is not a matrixed organization. And that if we do start to see Wayne becoming less involved and, not, someone who's overseeing the general day-to-day from a director level within threat management, that we're supposed to tell on him.
Got it.
And please do. And that is why I've gotten out of a number of things, so I can spend, I'm doing less public speaking and fewer blog kind of things and stuff like that. And to make time to be able to focus on this, which is good, which is what my intent was.
Right, until you get up to speed and everything, then it'll be easier and you can go back to the things you like.
I like it all, but yeah,
Yeah.
I can do a little more. I just needed to take a step back, or I'd try to do it all and I'd implode, which I definitely don't want that to happen.
I think he likes, you mean, you just meant you, right, Alexander? Just us.
Yeah,
Okay.
like we can start chatting more once you things settle down. Dope. So,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to take the next point, but I only actually know what point we're on. 4? Are we on 4?
And actually, I got to type in container security and threat insights. So, Tiago's out today, so I'll give the update. So we're not going to name a candidate, so we can make this public, this recording public. But we had a good pipeline of candidates, and we actually got 2 accepts. So one candidate is starting, I believe, in 2 weeks-ish in December. Somebody from I forget where in Canada, but in Canada, and the other person is in March and is in India, which is cool. And reason for March is their contract with their current employer requires them to give a good bit of time before they start, which is okay, of course. One of the candidates is a referral, not from anybody on the call now, but a referral from a current GitLab team member. It's kind of neat that they worked with in the past. And the other is a top community contributor who wanted to work at GitLab and is coming on board actually as a team member, as an employee, which is kind of neat. And the reason why is I forget who's going to container security and who's going to threat insights, and then Alan's eventually going to move from threat insights to container security, but I forget who's going to which team. I think the person in Canada is going to container security because they have more experience with Kubernetes and security specifically, and the other person who's the community contributor has contributed in many parts of GitLab and is just has a good bit of back-end engineering experience, is going to go to threat insights. When that person comes on board, then Alan's probably going to move to container. But I think Tiago is still figuring all that out.
The one in March, the one that's going to join in March, is going to join Container Network Security. And the one that's starting December 14, it's going to start on Threat Insights.
Thanks for correcting me, Samir. I didn't.
So that means that Alan will start working on container security sometime. I mean, I know it's not right when that person starts, but prior to March, then probably in the January timeframe, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so.
Cool.
Like, I think we're saying it's going to be January or February, or we got a lot to do on. We have shorter time frame customer commitments on threat insights than we do on container security. So we may keep Alan a bit longer on because the new folks take a little longer to get up to speed, of course, than folks already here to be fully contributing. So we're probably going to overdo threat insights a little bit. Prefer threat insights more than container security a little bit as we onboard the new folks, and then switch things over.
We have Alexander now. We are not in a hurry to have anyone. So.
That's true. Annual engagement survey is out and should be in your inbox. I think it actually went out a week or so ago. So please fill it out. It's not a required thing, of course, but please fill it out. We don't track who said what. So if you're worried, if that's a concern, so it does say which team feedback is from, but it only says that if there's, I think, more than, don't quote me on this, but it's like more than 4 or more than 5 people in a team give feedback, does the manager of that team get specific feedback. Otherwise, it doesn't give the feedback at all, so that anonymity is preserved. So yeah, and only, thanks Lindsay, it only takes about 15 minutes. I'll tell you, I use these surveys quite a bit. I get a lot out of them in terms of like, okay, here's what people said, not just for my team, but for engineering overall and GitLab overall. Okay, what should we do? And did we improve on what we said we were going to improve on from the survey 6 months ago or a year ago? And if we haven't, I feel quite sad, but it happens, of course. But I really pay attention to these. And I personally, I want to hear what's going well, I want to hear what's not going well too. Lindsay, you've got the next one.
If you haven't already, please install the Endpoint security on your client if you have a Mac. So I know, thank you, Alexander. Good job. I did it as well. So I didn't check Jonathan or Zamir. I was just looking for my team. So Please be sure to do that. And then I'm just going to keep this last item on the agenda until I maybe see a change in trends and behavior. I don't think this meeting should just be Wayne or Tiago or myself adding agenda items. If you have things that you want to share here, ideas that you think would benefit the whole team, please add them to this agenda. This is the one synchronous discussion that we have across the whole team. It's not specific to one of the two groups. So things that are about, how we work together as a team, or even just something interesting you learned. So that's it for me.
So before we break, Alexander, Zamir, or Jonathan, anything you'd like to bring up to the group, or any other thing you didn't get a chance to say earlier?
I would like to say that I just remembered that threat management, I finally have it solidified in my brain that threat management is the subgroup and threat insight and container security are the teams under it. And I am proud of myself. It finally happened.
By the time everybody learns it, it'll change. So,
Wayne, if that
So
happens,
true.
you're doing all the handbook updates.
I've gotten good. I did some handbook updates on some stuff I hadn't done before. And hunting down the YAML file that updates this page is not an easy thing to figure out if you haven't done it before. So I had to do some of that for the growth stuff. So thanks, Alexander. Zamir or Jonathan, anything to add before we break?
No, it's good. I just would like to ask Alexander that for next time, we also need to understand how defend and secure fit into the picture under
Defend is no longer a thing, right? Just forget the word defend ever existed. Protect.
Oh yeah, it's protect. That's true.
And right now, the only group in protect is container security, and threat insights falls into the secure stage, right? So secure and protect are both stages within the product. And
Lindsay,
threat insights
he was,
falls under
he was
secure.
grilling me, Lindsay.
I'm sorry. I was really excited that I knew the answer. I get that way sometimes.
There it is.
Oh, pictures.
And
So
here's the
specific,
picture. It's
yeah.
on our main page. Is that showing correctly? So protect stage has container security group, which is in the threat management department. The threat management department also has the threat insights group, which happens to be part of the secure stage. And secure stage has a bunch of groups that are part of the secure department. So departments are about people, stages are about features, and groups are about features, and groups are in departments.
That's good. That's good.
It helps.
I hope that one day it becomes a circle.
Yeah.
Or a Mobius, or like infinity. No.
Yeah.
Here's everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.